guys, it's Nemo and welcome to episode 15 of Wine, Sex and Chill. I hope you guys had an amazing week and I hope your Friday is looking good so far. So for today's video, by the title, we'll be discussing birth control. So that's what is birth control, types of birth control that I've been on in the past, answering your questions, thoughts and queries on birth control, and also a little sneak peek into as to why I'm going back into birth control. So if you want to get to know more about birth control, grab your favorite drink and let's just get started. First things first, when I was doing my research on birth control, I got really scared and freaked out because the information that I was finding out just had me questioning life, had me questioning why I want to go on birth control, had me questioning why is it only women others that are subjected to birth control. I know the male pill has been put into effect, but for the longest time it has always been women taking birth control into their own hands and just messing up our bodies or doing other things to our bodies. So me, I was just really freaked out and I'm currently still questioning why I want to get onto birth control. It's a serious question, you know? But you will make your own conclusion at the end of the video and we'll just go on with life as usual. So the question is, what is birth control? Birth control is a method or a device used to prevent pregnancy, as simple as that. That's why birth control was created. That's the main reason why most people, like 90% of people, take birth control, is to just prevent pregnancy. But not everybody who uses birth control has preventing pregnancy as their main goal. Some use it because they have endometriosis, some use it because they have heavy and extremely severe menstrual cramps, others use it for irregular periods in order to regulate their periods. But once we go down through the different types of birth control, I will explain endometriosis, the menstrual cramps and the irregular periods better. Next question, how does birth control work? So now, to understand how birth control works, you need to understand the different types of birth control they are. So there are different categories where birth control falls at, the first one being the hormonal birth control. So when it comes to the hormonal birth control, this is basically where you introduce hormones into your body to prevent you from ovulating every single month, so you temporarily become infertile during the period you're taking your birth control. Next, we have the barrier method. So the barrier method prevents the sperm from reaching the egg. So this is more of a physical method of birth control because there is a physical barrier between the sperm and the egg, and they never meet in order for fertilization to get place. So that means you never get pregnant. Next, we have the device method. So this device method prevents a fertilized egg from implanting onto your your uterine wall. Hey, kizungu ni ngumu, you know. So the device is implanted into your uterus, and while it's there, it will prevent any fertilized egg from implanting onto your wall. Or some also have hormones, but when we come to the device birth control method, I will explain the difference between the hormonal and the just kawaida IUD. So next, now let's discuss the type of hormones. I will first list them and then explain each of them as we go along the video. So the first type, as I said, is the hormonal birth control. This is where you introduce hormones into your body every single day for every single month for as long as you are on birth control. So the first one is a birth control pill. Secondly, we have the hormonal patch. We have the birth control implant, and then we have the vaginal ring. So these four different types of birth control fall under the hormonal birth control. Next, we have the barrier method of birth control. This contains the diaphragm, the condoms, the cervical caps, and the spermicide that is used both with the cervical cap and the diaphragm. Again, I will explain to it as we come to tackle them one by one. Next, we have the natural way of birth control. We have the ovulation test kit, cervical mucus testing, the rhythm method, which is where you track your cycle using your calendar, coitus interruptus, aka pull out. I laugh each time I say coitus interruptus. It's so scientific, so professional. Coitus interruptus. Oh well. And then we have the device birth control. So the device has the intrauterine device, also called the IUD. Next, we have the surgical birth control. This tends to be permanent. This is a permanent way of birth control. So we have the tubal ligation and the vasectomy for the men. So the tubal ligation is for the females, and then the vasectomy is for the males. I know I haven't mentioned the P2, but the P2 is an emergency contraceptive which is taken once in a while. It's not something you need to take regularly, because if you take P2 like a regular birth control, you actually end up destroying your hormone levels more. So we will discuss that and why P2 is not just something you take every single day like candy. So now we are going to I'm going to explain each and every single birth control method. We have a lot of them. We have a long way to go. So just refill your glass by now, because I feel like I've already talked way too much, but it's fine. So now, under the hormonal method, as I said, we have 4 different types: the birth control pill, the hormonal patch, the vaginal ring, and the birth control implant. So I will start with the birth control pill. They said there are 2 different types of hormonal pills under the birth control pill. So you have the combination pill, which is the estrogen and the progestin. So this one will work both by preventing an egg from being released and then making your cervix and your uterus very unfavorable for fertilization and implantation to work. And then the last one is the mini pill, which is only the progestin only mini pill. So this will work by making your cervix and your uterus very unfavorable for any fertilization to take place. So when it comes to the mini pills, which are the progestin only pills, you will get 21 in a pack. So for the first 3 weeks of the month, you will be taking progestin hormones every single day at the same time for it to work effectively. And then when it comes to the last week, you take a break where you're able to have your period, because your hormone levels will drop, which will induce you to have your period in that month. For the combination pill, you will have 28 pills in a pack. So for the first 3 weeks, the pill is active. So it will be taking a progesterone and estrogen hormone for the first 3 weeks. And then on the last week, you will take a non-active pill or a placebo pill or a sugar pill, so that you're able to have your period that month. So that's how the birth control pill comes. So you have to take the pill every single day at the same time for it to be 99% effective. If you miss it once or by a few hours, just remember to take it immediately so that you're able to bring back your hormone levels properly. But if you happen to have sex and you have missed the pill, kindly use a barrier method. So because at times it might not be effective and you can get pregnant within that little gap, that little slip up, you can actually get pregnant. So how do you take the birth control pill? It is advised to take the pill on the first day of your cycle or on the first Sunday after your period, so you're able to put it, you're able to track it properly. You can take it anytime within your cycle, but make sure you're able to track when the first day was, so that you know when to up the next month and the other month and the other month, like that. So you're very consistent with taking the pill. But your doctor will always advise you to take it on the first day of your cycle, so day 1 of your menstrual cycle, or the first Sunday after your period, which makes it easier for you to track it, as I said. Now, number 2, we have the birth control shot. This one tends to fall under the birth control pill. It doesn't have a category on its own, but it's a hormonal way of birth control. So this birth control shot is called a Depo-Provera, and it only contains progestin in it. So what happens, every 3 months you will go to your doctor and you will be given a shot on your arm with the progestin. So you just inject it into your month and you're sorted for 3 months. So this one will work by making the environment, that is your cervix and your uterus, very unfavorable for fertilization and even implantation to take place. So every 3 months you will have to go to your doctor and get a shot of progestin to make sure that you do not get pregnant. Between the birth control pill and the birth control shot, I think I would go for the birth control shot because it's every 3 months. But yet again, I become very forgetful, so I'd rather have a reminder where I take my birth control every pill. And the good thing is there's so many apps out there that can remind you to take your birth control pill at a particular time every single day. So that's the birth control pill and then the birth control shot. So the side effects of the birth control pill and the birth control shot. First is weight gain. This is something that majority of you are asking about weight gain when you start birth control. But the thing with the weight gain when you're taking your birth control pill, it is actually just water retention and body fluids building up in your body, and it tends to stay around for 2 to 3 months, but after that your weight will go back to normal. It's nothing that's permanent, it's nothing that's guaranteed, but if the weight gain does occur, just know it's just water retention and it will go back to normal within 2 to 3 months. So it's not something permanent. Next we have headaches, decreased libido, nausea, vomiting, spotting, tenderness or soreness of the breast, mood swings, acne, depression, irregular periods for some, weakness and fatigue. So you can see there are plenty of side effects, but honestly these ones are not as scary as the ones we're going to hear. So for some they actually experienced decreased libido, for some they will experience acne, for some you will experience weight gain, others you will have irregular periods, especially if you start the pill and are just some random time within your monthly cycle. So now your hormones within your body and then the hormones you're introducing will have to balance out. So it will take about 2 to 3 months for things to balance out. You will experience spotting, mood swings, because it's just your body getting used to now the increased amount of hormones in your body, because our body naturally makes progesterone and estrogen. So now when you introduce another level into it, your body has to find a way to balance out, and this is where the side effects come into play. But within 2 to 3 months, majority of women just usually go to normal, go back to feeling okay, and they're good with it. So those are the side effects. When it comes to the birth control pill, also just know it does not protect you against any STDs and STIs. So if this is something you're worried about, and if you're somebody who has multiple sexual relationships, I would advise you to use a condom so that you do not contract any STDs and STIs. If you're trying to get pregnant, once you get off the birth control pill, it normally takes 6 to 10 months for you to get pregnant. So it's something you have to keep working on, because your body has to go back to normal levels of itself just surviving on its own hormones that it creates itself. So it will take you 6 to 10 months for you to get pregnant. So that's another birth control. I hope I've explained it to you well. If you have any questions specifically to birth control and birth control shot, just leave them down below. Next birth control under hormonal is the hormonal patch. I honestly did not know a patch exists until I started doing my research, but the hormonal patch has a 91 to 99% effective rate when used correctly. So the hormonal patch actually has 60% more higher hormones than the birth control pill. Yeah, that's a lot of hormones we're putting into our body, way too many hormones, but that's how the birth control is. So what happens with the birth control patch, you put it on your body and the hormones are absorbed through your skin into your bloodstream, and that's how they get into your body. The hormonal patch works by stopping the release of an egg every single month, so you won't experience ovulation, which means you will be temporarily infertile. So for the hormonal patch, you can either put it on your lower abdomen, your buttocks, your back, or your upper arm. So whichever place you're comfortable with, that's where it's recommended for you to put your patch, because that's where it is most effective for the hormone to enter your body through your skin and into your bloodstream. So every single week, when you are changing your hormonal patch, you have to put it at a different position every single week. That means you need to rotate it so that the area does not get irritated, because it will be easily irritated if you keep that patch at the same place for the entire month. So for the hormonal patch, you need to replace it every single week. Just like the birth control pill, where you need to take it every single day for it to be effective, the hormonal patch needs to be switched up every single week for that entire period for it to be effective. So you need to apply it on a dry, clean area. So make sure that area is clean, it's completely dry, and then you apply the patch. press it on for a few seconds for it to be secure, and that's it. So for the hormonal patch, you can either use it on a cycle use basis or a continuous use basis. What I mean by cycle use basis is that you will wear it for 3 weeks in that month, and then the last week of that month you remove it, so you're hormonal patch free, and then you're able to have your period. But for the continuous use, you change it every single week. You do not take a break, you do not remove it. And in doing this for continuous use, you will get to a point where you won't even have your period, because your hormones do not fluctuate, and that means your body doesn't trigger itself to it's the last week of our cycle, we need to have a period. So for the hormonal patch, you can either have it as a cycle use or a continuous use. It's honestly up to you. So for the side effects of this, it is spotting or irregular period, breast tenderness, headaches, cramps, nausea, and skin irritation. So the skin irritation comes from you not changing your patch every week, or putting it badly, or something going on within that week where you get a skin irritation. So if you notice a skin irritation immediately, just switch it to a more favorable area, and every week when you change your patch, just keep moving it. So these other side effects are just explained by having an increased level of hormones in your body. But with everything else, once your body gets used to that amount of hormones, it will always regulate itself, and you won't experience the side effects anymore. But with everything else, if the side effects are persistent, just go back to your doctor and let them know that there is something wrong with me. It's been more than 3 months and I still cannot stand these extra levels of hormones in my body. So that's the hormonal patch. Next, we have the implantation. This, I should not have looked at videos of how implantation is taken. I just shouldn't have, just like my partner says. I like scaring myself for no goddamn reason. But it's okay. So for the implant, it is 99% effective when used correctly. I feel if you give me a 99% chance of effectiveness, I will hop onto that, So the implant is called an explanon. So it's a thin, tiny rod that is placed into your arm. As the word says, birth control implant. So a doctor or a nurse will implant it into your body. So it is put into your body for up to 5 years. So when you get the implant, you can either get it for 3 to 5 years, but the maximum amount of time that the implant is allowed to be in your body and it's going to be effective is 5 years. So the implant only contains progesterone, the progesterone hormone, which means it works by thickening the mucus around your cervix and making your cervix and your uterus unfavorable for any fertilization and pregnancy to take place. So the side effects of the implant, this is where I started questioning life. So we have bleeding, pus or redness at the area where the implant has been put, yellowing of your skin and your eyes, heavier or longer bleeding, headaches, breast pain, nausea, weight gain, ovarian cysts, and infection. Are you hearing those side effects? If not, let me repeat them to you. Bleeding, pus or redness around the area where the implant has been put, yellowing of your skin and eyes, ovarian cysts, infection, breast pain. Like, what the heavens is that? Like, wow, those are some serious side effects. And I was just like, like, is it really worth it? Like, am I looking for 99% effectiveness, or a chance that I might have some of these side effects attack me? But I was just like, you know what, it's fine, let's just keep on doing this research. And for the implant, as soon as it's put into your body, it works immediately, especially if it's put within the first day of your cycle. It will just work immediately, because the hormones will start working immediately, and the first day of your cycle, you're obviously bleeding and things, you're moody, so you're not going to have sex. So by the time you have sex after the first week, it is good to go. Yeah, so that's how the implant, it's a simple, put it in your body, forget about it. This is a forget about it method. Put it and forget about it. Just put it and go. Put it and forget. Put it and go on with your life. But those side effects have me questioning life. They really do. So the last one, under the hormonal type of birth control, we have the vaginal ring. I did not know there was such thing as a vaginal ring, hence why people need to do their research. So for the vaginal ring, it is what he says, just a ring that contains hormones, and it's put inside your vagina. So a nurse or a doctor will put it inside your vagina. So this contains estrogen and progesterone hormones. So the progesterone will make your cervix and your uterus unfavorable for pregnancy or fertility, and then the estrogen will stop you from having your ovulations every month. So for the vaginal ring, you need to change it every month. So when the day is up, you just go have it changed and you're good to go. Side effects when it comes to the vaginal ring are heart attack, stroke, blood clots, liver tumors, death, back pain or jaw pain, nausea, sweating, trouble breathing, chest pain or discomfort, achy soreness in your legs, belly or stomach pain, bad headaches, aura, so seeing of dots and lights, yellowing of skin and eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the side effects I found. This is one of those methods that is likely to lead to death in severe cases. In extreme cases, you can die from the vaginal ring. Like, what is life? Like, liver tumors, blood clots, heart attack, stroke. Like, tell me, this thing that is implanted into your vagina can cause heart attacks. These are rare cases, you know, these are the severe side effects that rarely occur, but they are side effects nonetheless. When you go for an operation, the doctor won't tell you that's just what is common. No, they'll also tell you there are rare side effects, the uncommon side effects, so you decide for yourself. This at liver tumor, blood clots, stroke, heart attack, or even death, like kifo, like death, like, whew, this gave me a headache. Like, I texted my partner and I was like, yo babe, we're not doing vaginal ring. No, we're not doing the vaginal ring. No, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine. Oh, but yeah, so if you want to get pregnant while you're on the vaginal ring, it will take a couple of months for your body to go back to normal for you to be able to get pregnant. But for the implant, I forgot to tell you that it reverts immediately. Like, you're able to get pregnant as soon as you remove it. But yeah, and the vaginal ring has a 91% chance of effectiveness. But if I was to tell you which one to use, do not go for the vaginal ring. Just ignore it. Pretend it does not exist. These side effects are not worth it. They really aren't worth it. Not at all. So now that we have discussed the hormonal birth control, let us discuss the barrier birth control. And hopefully, we are almost finishing because I've talked too much. So first, under the barrier birth control, we have the diaphragm, which has 88 to 94% effectiveness. So when used correctly, you will get a 94% chance of not getting pregnant. When used EV2 or you forget to use it, there's an 88% chance. There's a 88% chance that you will be protected against getting pregnant. So what happens with the diaphragm is just a device. It's like a cup or sauce that you cover your cervix with. So when you're using the diaphragm, you have to apply a thin layer of spermicide and put it into your cervix so it covers your cervix. So the spermicide also destroys the sperm before they get into your cervix. So diaphragm, spermicide, put on top and then put up into your vagina. So when you have the diaphragm inside your body and you're going to have sex regularly on that day, it is advised that you add the spermicide every 2 hours just so that it's effective enough. And you need to leave the diaphragm in your vagina at least 6 hours, but no more than 24 hours. So you have that 6 to 24 hour gap where the diaphragm can be up your vagina, and that's okay. Because what happens if you leave it way too long, you are at risk of getting TSS. This is toxic shock syndrome, which is the same thing you can get if you leave your tampon inside your body for too long. So the side effects that come with the diaphragm are mainly from the spermicide, but if you're allergic to silicone, the silicone itself can can irritate you because the diaphragm is made of silicone. So the side effects are irritates vagina and increases your risk of HIV and STDs. You can get a UTI, spotting or bleeding, high fever, rash, diarrhea or vomiting, sore throat, achy muscle or joints, dizziness, faintness, and weakness. Those side effects are scary. So the side effects mainly come from the spermicide, as I said, but also if you're allergic to silicone, you will react to it. So you need to be very careful. So as soon as you use it and you start noticing something is wrong, take it out immediately and go see your doctor so that they can catch it immediately and treat you for that. Because you guys, UTIs are not pretty. At risk of getting HIV and an STD, sore throat, dizziness, spotting or bleeding, high fever, rash. These are side effects that you need to be very worried about. Yes, not everybody gets it, but knowledge is power. It's better you know this information before you get yourself into certain things. So for the diaphragm, as I said, it's a device, so you can use it up to 2 years. All you have to do is ensure that you're correctly washing it and cleaning it after use. Store it in a cool and dry place away from direct sunlight. You need to use it every single time you have sex. So it's not like the pill where you take every single day. It's not like the implant where you put it and forget it. This, you need to use it every time. It is hard to use correctly if you're not trained on it, like if your doctor doesn't show you how to use it properly, and because it takes time for you to get used to it. And next thing, size actually does matter. So if you have never given birth, they will give you a different size. If you have gotten pregnant but then had a miscarriage or had an abortion, they will give you a different size. If you've had a child through natural birth, they will give you a different size. So before you use a diaphragm, go to your doctor, talk to them. They will ask you these questions. They will show you how to use it. They will let you know every single thing about the diaphragm, and then they'll pick for you the correct size. But that's the diaphragm for you. Next, we have condoms. Everybody knows about condoms. Everybody has used condoms, I hope. Everybody uses condoms if they're not too sure about their sexual partner, I hope. So condoms, how are condoms work? So condoms work by preventing the entry of sperm into your vagina. So, the penis is here, the condom is here. You will put the condom on, and then once the man ejaculates, the sperm will collect at the top. You will remove it, wrap it in toilet paper, and then get rid of it. For the condom, you need to use it every single time you have sex, every single time you have a new round in the same day with the same person. You need to use a fresh condom. So this also prevents spread of STIs and STDs. And for your information, this is the only method that actually prevents the spread of STIs and STDs. So if you're worried about your partner, if you're the person who has multiple sexual partners, condom is your best bet. It is your way to go to prevent both pregnancy and the spread of STIs and STDs and you getting infected. It is one of the most affordable methods because you can get some for free, and depending on you can get it at a certain price. So it's from $0 to a certain price, but it's one of the most affordable birth control methods. And then the only side effects that you can get with condoms, if you're allergic to latex, you can get a latex allergy like I am. I am allergic to latex, so the only condoms I can use are Durex, which actually use a plastic called polysoprene, which is non-latex. So I cannot use Trust, I cannot use Fiesta, I cannot use Love. Like I always tried different condoms, but I always came back to Durex because every other condom would give me an itch. I would either get a UTI or get that UTI irritation, that itch, that rash. So your girl can only use Durex because I am allergic to latex. But yeah, that's what you have for the condom. It's the most affordable, it's the most, just get it, choose it, forget about it, Next, we have the cervical cap. So just as it says, the cervical cap is a cap that you put up your vagina to cover your cervix. You also need to use a cervical cap with spermicide to make it more effective. So as I said, the cervical cap covers the cervix, plus when used with spermicide, it destroys the sperm before they get into your cervix. You have to have it at least 6 hours, but no more than 2 days up your vagina. and it is very similar to diaphragm. So even the side effects that come from the diaphragm are also found on the cervical cap. So that is, irritates your vagina and increases your risk of HIV and STIs. You can contract an UTI, spotting or bleeding, high fever, rash, diarrhea or vomiting, sore throat, aching muscles or joints, dizziness, faintness, and weakness. So every time that you're about to have sex, you need to put spermicide onto your cervical cap and then put it up your vagina, and then have it, make sure it covers your cervix, and then you take it out and wash it with clean water, dry it completely, and then store it in a cool and dry place away from sunlight. So yeah, that is the cervical cap for you. So now we move on to the natural birth control methods. As I said, we have the ovulation test kit, the rhythm method, the cervical mucus testing, and also the pull-out. So we will start with the ovulation test kit. So for the ovulation test kit, it's just like a pregnancy test. So what happens is, when you buy an ovulation test kit, you will get these small strips that you use to test whether you're ovulating or not. So what you're testing on the ovulation test kit is a luteinizing hormone. This is a hormone that signals your body to release an egg every single month for ovulation. The best time to test if you're ovulating is with your fast urine. So when you wake up in the morning, you go pee in a cup or wherever and test it, because your hormones are able to be tested at a maximum capacity in the urine with the fast urine, because your body has been at a resting period, everything has been collecting in your bladder, so the hormonal levels in your urine will be very high with the fast urine. So the best time to also test is 1 or 2 days before your ovulation, because if you track your period and when you're going, like that period that's usually fertile, which is like a 7-day period, so there's that week, that hapa kuna venye I might be fertile, I may be ovulating. So test it 1 or 2 days before that range and just know. But the problem that comes with this is that you have to test that entire week, which is very cumbersome. Nobody has time to remember every morning, oh, when you're going to pee, do not pee all of it in the toilet, pee in some cup, go test. Am I ovulating? No, I'm not ovulating today, we can have sex. Am I ovulating? No, I'm not ovulating today, we can have sex. But it's too much work. It's just too much work. But the good thing is, you're not inserting anything into your body, you're not putting more hormones into your body, so there are no side effects when it comes to this. Next, we have cervical mucus testing. Cervical mucus testing is basically what it is. You will stick 2 fingers up your vagina, move around a bit, collect some mucus, and then pull it out, and then look at the mucus in your hands and test it out. So within your menstrual cycle, your cervical mucus changes in consistency. When it is very light, very watery, very wet, that's when you're most fertile. That's when you're ovulating, because that wet, watery consistency in the cervical mucus allows for the sperm to move freely all the way from your vagina to the fallopian tubes and fertilize the egg. When you test it, it's a bit mucousy, it's sticky, like you can actually trust it. You're less fertile, but it is possible to get pregnant, but it's a more tough environment for the sperm to move along and move. So there's that time when it's just very sticky, very mucousy, Then there's a time where it's just barely there, or even just like blobs, just like 2 blobs of cervical mucus. This is your least fertile state. Nothing is going to happen. You can have sex there. Feel free to have sex there. So that's how you test your cervical mucus, and that's that method of natural birth control method. Again, this is more of a 50-50% chance. You are just winging it. So every time you want to have sex, you just like stick 2 fingers, check consistency. I'm not fertile, you're good to go. Like, nobody has time for that. Nobody does. Next, we have the rhythm method. This is best for those who have regular periods. Like when you're sure when your period is coming, this is the best for you, because you're able to track and you're able to know this week I am ovulating this week, I'm having my period, so for those other 2 weeks I'm good to go. We can just get it on run without any worry at all. So that's the refill method. Just make sure to always check your calendar before you have sex so that you are sure on what's going on with your body. Lastly, under the natural birth control methods, we have coitus interruptus, aka pull-out game. This is one of the most used birth control methods, if I have to say. Like, I'm pretty sure if we did a survey, we would find the pull-out game, especially with Kenyan men, is the most popular, because people just know how the pull-out game happens is when you're having sex, you know, you're getting it, and when the guy is about to come, poop, like he has to pull out. When he feels like the first drop is coming, he has to pull out completely, just get out of there immediately. So that's how the pull out happens. It is very risky. Like, you have another 50% chance of getting pregnant, because if it's not fast enough and you're ovulating, pap, you're gonna be having a baby in 9 months. But if he's really good at his game and you're also good enough to propel yourself away from him, you're good to go. You can move on with life properly and have no worries about anything. Next, I've talked a lot. Hey guys, I hope you guys watch until the end of the video, because I'm losing my voice. So next we have the IUD, which is the uterine Next, we have the IUD, which is the intrauterine device. This is the one that looks like a letter T, where everybody knows. But did you know that 2 different types of IUDs? There is a hormonal IUD and the copper IUD. I did not know that before I started this research, but now I know it. So it's a tiny device that is put up into your uterus by your gynecologist. This is a put it and forget about it for 3 to 12 years. 3 to 12 years. You just put it and forget about it. So as I said, this is the 2 types, and it's one of the most long-term methods of birth control other than the birth control implant. So there's the copper IUD and there's the hormonal IUD. For the copper IUD, it is wrapped in copper because sperms and copper do not mix. Sperm hate copper like water and oil do not mix. Like, I don't know who hates each other the way copper and sperm hate each other, but you get my point. So for the copper IUD, it is wrapped with copper and then it is put up in uterus. So when the sperm come like this, they're like nope, and they just flutter away. So that's how this one prevents you from getting pregnant. Sperm and copper do not mix. So this one can last up to 12 years depending on which one you get. They have different names. There are 3 of them. There are 3 different ones. One lasts 3 years, one lasts 7 years, the other one lasts 12 years. But when you're going to talk to your doctor, discuss which one you want. So that's under the copper IUD. So then now we have the hormonal IUD. The hormonal IUD only contains progestin and lasts from 3 to 7 years. So it is a device implanted into your uterus, but it releases hormones. So just like how progesterone works, it will make the area around your cervix and your uterus very unfavorable for pregnancy, implantation, and fertilization. So that's how the hormonal IUD will work. It will be both the device with the hormone in it. But for the copper, it just goes in there and disrupts the sperm, disrupts it completely when it comes in. So that's how those 2 different IUDs work. It is the most effective at 99.9% when put on correctly. 99.9% when put in correctly. So it's the most effective and it works immediately. For the other hormonal methods, you have to wait for your body to regulate. You at least have to wait for a week for the hormones in your body to regulate so that you can be able to have sex without having other birth control methods. For the barrier method, it's there, use it, it covers immediately. But now for something that's implanted into your body, the IUD works immediately. Now for the side effects, when it comes to the IUD, you can have cramping and spotting, especially when it's being put in, because you will feel a bit of pain because it's a device, it's a T-shaped device that is going to be put up into your vagina, through your cervix, into your uterus. So you have to spread out your legs. The doctor is there with a spectrum thingy and then puts it through. So you might feel a bit of cramping and spotting when it's being implanted into you. For the copper one, you might get heavier and worse cramps because it's just a device that's there. So now you can imagine when you're having your periods, your uterine walls are contracting and relaxing to push out the uterus, everything that's within your uterus, because you didn't get pregnant, to push out the egg and all that. So you can have heavy and worse cramps because now there's an obstruction in your uterus. For the hormonal IUD, you might get lighter periods and less cramps because it's hormonal, so it will regulate your period. It will make them lighter and less crampy. But then you will get spotting in between for both of them. You might have an irregular period, and then at times the severe side effects, you might get an infection while it's being put in. It might slip out, because I know of somebody who told me like her IUD just came out. It can push through your wall, which can cause cramping, pain. It can push through your wall, which can cause other difficulties if it gets past your uterus wall now into your intestinal cavity. There's a story I read of a woman who lost her leg because that thing decided to go somewhere where it's not supposed to be. But these are severe cases. And with this one, if you remove it, you can get pregnant immediately. You do not have to wait a couple of months or 6 to 10 months. You can get pregnant immediately. So those are the birth control methods, birth control types. I will not touch onto the surgical birth control in this video because this video is already long. So if we will have another video for the surgical one, because now I have to do even extra research for that, because I need to be 100% sure if it's permanent. Some people say it can be reversed, some people say it's very permanent because if you cut the tubes, that's it. But I will do deeper research on the surgical methods and then I come to you. For the emergency contraceptive, luckily I have the box with me, so I'll show you how it looks like. So this is a hormonal contraceptives. You are introducing hormones into your body to ensure that you do not get pregnant if you're not actually sure on whether you're ovulating or not. So this is how the box looks like. When you go to the shop, you ask for the P2 or the Postina 2. This is how it comes. So it comes with 2 tablets. You can either take both of them immediately or take one now and then after 12 hours take the other one. The P2 is most effective when taken within the first 72 hours of having unprotected sex. So yes, that is the P2 for you. And this one also contains lactose, so if you're lactose intolerant, beware for your stomach to start misbehaving. But then if you happen to vomit and you have just taken the P2, it is recommended that you take another one immediately for it to be effective. So yeah, that is how the P2 works. As I said, it's an emergency contraceptive, so you do not take it every time. This is a once in a blue moon kind of situation. I have taken my entire sexual experience, I've only taken the P2 3 times, which was like 1 year, then the next year and the next year, because at times things get confusing and things happen. But yeah, that's the P2 for you. So that we've discussed what is birth control, types of birth control, the side effects, you know what they are, how they work, how effective they are. I'm now going to tell you guys the birth control that I've been on in the past. And so first, birth control pill, I've taken it two different occasions, sorry. So the first one I was 15, 16, so this was in form 2. I had gone to hospital because of severe cramping. Like, I started going to Hosi to get the painkillers injected into my butt when I started my period because they were that severe. Like, sometimes I wouldn't even go to school because they were that painful. So it was recommended that I go see a gynecologist. I did an ultrasound and I found out that I had endometriosis. So for my type of endometriosis, not all of the stuff like the uterine wall and the blood that was supposed to come out would come out during my monthly period. Some would clot and then stick to the top of the uterus and remain there. So when the next month would come, my uterus was overworking itself to get rid of everything, hence causing the severe heavy cramps and periods. So I was put on Dufaston for I think 6 months, if I'm not wrong. So the first 2 months were crazy. I was bleeding every 2 weeks. I was spotting in between. I was just not in a good place. Like, everything was just feeling strange. I had gained weight, but this was, you know, body fluids and stuff. But then after the 2 months, everything regulated and went back to normal. My cramps weren't as severe. Everything was fine. And since I was active, like I was playing tennis, I was swimming, like, you know, I was very active. It helped with the cramps and everything was was normal for a while. But then after I finished high school, your girl became non-active, no sports were happening, so the severe cramping came back. But I went and got an ultrasound done about 2-3 years ago, and endometriosis has never recurred, so that's a good thing. That's something I'm very thankful for and grateful for. So that was the first instance when I was on birth control pill. The second time was in 2015. 2015 was a strange year for me. So I was seeing this person, and I started hearing about birth control, reading about birth control, because when I was in birth control when I was 15, I just thought it was that specific one for endometriosis. I didn't know it was the same that you could be on to prevent pregnancy. So when they were having conversations on Femiplan and stuff, I self-medicated, which you should never do. Never do that. I was on it for 3 months. I missed my period the second month, and I had freaked out. So I thought I was pregnant. I had freaked out, but it was just my body getting used to, taking birth control. I gained weight. I was having acne. It was just very weird, but then I stopped because I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, so I stopped. So one, birth control. Secondly, condoms. Condoms have been the one thing that's been very consistent in my entire sexual journey. And I started off with Durex, but then there's a time I did Trust, Love, Fiesta, all those. I've tried a bunch of condoms, but all of them other than Durex would give me a reaction. Immediately after sex was finished, I would get an itch and a rash that I'd had to go sit in a bathtub for it to cool down. So that's when I found out that I'm allergic to latex, so that I can only now use Durex condoms. And it's something I always have, when I'm having casual sex, it's not I'm not too sure how exclusive we are. We're not exclusive. I always have condoms in my bag. I always carry condoms. So the other third method I've used is the cervical mucus testing. I am very intuitive with my body. I always need to know what's going on with my body. So I started looking at my cervical mucus in high school, seeing the consistency, how it is. So it's something I do even every morning when I wake up and I go to the bathroom, the first bathroom visit. I just check to see how my body is doing, because you can also tell if you're sick, if you're not. It's a good way to know what's going on inside your vagina and stuff. The other method is a rhythm method. My cycle is very regular. My periods will come on the day to the day without a miss at all. If everything is normal, they won't miss. I'll know when I'm ovulating, I'll know when I'm everything. When I'm PMSing, everything is very accurate, so I'm able to track when I'm ovulating and not with that. So in conjunction with tracking my calendar, I use the pull out. When I'm in a long-term relationship, condoms are not going to be used. It's a lie. Why are we lying to yourself? Because I want to feel you. Raw is sweet. It is fantastic. So when I'm in a long-term relationship and we have been tested, and we're 100% with each other, we're exclusive to each other, so I usually feel as though it's safe to do that. But now when I'm ovulating, I usually tell my partner, you're going to pull out this week because we're not trying to get pregnant. And then I've also used the P2. Yeah, I've used it 3 times in my sexual journey. So the first time I was in high school, second time was 2015, then the third time was 2017. So those are the only 3 times that I've used P2. I didn't react at all. It was just I wasn't too sure whether I was ovulating or not. I had forgotten to check my calendar, and then I go oh, I'm ovulating, and just take the P2 just for assurance measures. Any other? Yeah, those are the methods I've used. Among the methods, I prefer the condom 100%. You're assured of everything. It's 100% there, you're covered, unless now I use latex condoms. But when everything is done 100%, I highly recommend the condom. It's worked for me countless of times. It's just an easy method. Go to the shop, buy it, use it, wrap it, through it. That's it. No complications, no nothing, especially if you buy the condoms yourself, so you know what you're using and nobody has tampered with them. So this topic came about because I am going back on birth control, and it was a topic that was eventually going to come up, but it came up now because I'm going on birth control. I've been hinting to you guys here and there that when it comes to a long-term relationship, and now that I'm getting into a relationship, knowing 100% what I want, being able to communicate openly what I want, what I envision, what my needs and my wants are, what my goals for a relationship are. One of them is birth control. I want to get on birth control, and it's a discussion I've had with my to-be partner. It's a discussion we've had. It's a discussion we've had in full, and I've picked the route that we're going to use birth control, and he's agreed with me that, you know, let's just use birth control. It's the safest method. So I want to pick something that's put it, forget it. Like, I do not want to do the pill. It's a lie. I'm not going to be able to track. I'm not going to take them every single day at the same time. Like, it's a lie. I cannot do the shot, because what if the 3-month mark falls on a day I'm in the office and I can't get out, I can't get leave, like, because girl, I'm busy. Like, these days I am so busy. Handling 7 social media accounts is something else. We don't want to use condoms. It's a lie. It's we knew that from the beginning. It wasn't happening. So the diaphragm, cervical caps, no, those and as I said, I want something that's put it, forget it. So the option that I have is either the implant or the hormonal IUD, because I have heavy periods and I have severe cramping. So now if I have a copper IUD, which will just be an obstruction in my uterus, I'm not trying to have heavier periods, I'm not trying to have severe cramps. So for the hormonal one, it will balance out and regulate my period and the cramps. So it's either the implant or the hormonal IUD. So now I just want to make an appointment with my gynecologist, go have a conversation with him and pick what's best for me. So I will come back and let you know the prices and what I have gotten on, and we will go through that journey to see how my body takes it. But yeah, that's it for what I've used and what I plan on getting. I highly recommend that you guys have a gynecologist. Go see a gynecologist, have these conversations with a gynecologist. Do not self-medicate. Do not, even though the family plan is an OTC, that's over-the-counter drug, do not do it. Like, because you do not know how your hormones will react to extra hormones. You do not know how your body will react to extra hormones. You know, so even though you're not covered under medical insurance, I'm thankful that I am covered, and my gynecologist visits and everything is paid in full. You can go to clinics that offer free menstrual and maternal health, and just invest in it if you can. Just, this is something that you need. As a woman, you know, you're getting into that age where you need to be assured of what's going on in your body. So I highly recommend you have a gynecologist that you can go to. I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys got to understand more about birth control, and just don't stop with this video. Do your research. Find out more about them. Go talk to your gynecologist. Talk to your friends that are on birth control. Find out how their body reacted. And the thing is, what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. That's why always get professional help and find out everything that you need to know. But yeah, I hope this video was informative. I hope you sticked until the end. If you have any more questions about birth control, just ask them down below, or DM me, send me an email, and we can discuss this. I hope I answered the questions you guys asked and all your concerns that you raised up. And yeah, hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye.